Good evening, everyone. I'm so excited to see everybody on the call tonight for our very first Commander in Chief Trophy Series game of the year. So exciting. As everybody knows, Navy is playing at Air Force. And this show, this webinar that we do is super special where we always get some of the standout football players from one of the eras from each of the competing teams, in this case, the Naval Academy and the Air Force Academy, to discuss three things essentially: brotherhood, football, and leadership. And everybody who's involved in sports or in coaching, some of the best parts of it is coming together and just telling stories and just reflecting on the good times. Because we're all old now, and that's what we do because we can't play anymore. And we all wish we could, so we get to walk down memory lane together and embellish all of the stories. So we're able to do this because of all of the generous giving of our donors and sponsors, and it's a great way to bring everyone together and keep promoting the values of the military, Air Force, Naval Academy, Army, about leadership, teamwork, discipline, to produce soldier coaches out in the community having a massive impact. And tonight we have two great guests. We have Bobby McLarin from the Naval Academy, and we have Chance Harriage from the Air Force Academy. And to introduce Bobby, Bobby's a native of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. He grew up in the city's West Side neighborhood in a blue-collar family. Football was always his passion, and playing at the D1 level was his dream. As a result of academic and athletic success at Liberty High School in Bethlehem, he was presented the opportunity to attend the United States Naval Academy, where he earned a degree in engineering, serve his country, and play football at the D1 level. Prior to attending the Naval Academy, he spent 2 years at the Naval Academy Preparatory School, also known as NAPS, in Newport, Rhode Island, where he was initiated into the, quote, brotherhood, one of the key themes that we're going to be talking about tonight, which serves as a cornerstone of Navy football. Following his stint at NAPS, he went on to earn a Bachelor's of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering and was a key contributor to Navy's football resurgence under Paul Johnson. While starting at middle linebacker for the midshipmen, he was a recipient of many accolades to include the 2002 Admiral Mack Award, 2004 Roger Staubach Award, 2004 College Football News All Bowl Team, among others. However, the most rewarding accomplishment in his years while at Navy was making a decision with all his brothers to commit themselves to the never outworked selfless mentality as they took a football program from 0-11 his freshman year to Emerald Bowl champs his senior year with a 10-2 record. And we're going to talk about that impact and how that has shaped all the work, the incredible work you're doing now, Bobby, because that was really awesome. So upon graduation from the Academy in May of 2005, Bobby was selected by Navy's coaching staff as one of 4 players from their graduating class to coach at NAPS for the first 6 months of his military obligation. It was one of the most rewarding experiences in his life, for he knew coaching, inspiring, and mentoring was his true north. Also one of the central themes of the things that we talk about. Following NAPS, Bobby held a wide array of leadership roles as an officer in the U.S. Navy and Civil Engineer Corps, to include Surface Warfare Officer, Ordnance Officer, and Seizure Officer, and Lead Construction Project Manager. After serving his 5-year obligation, Bobby and his wife, Kate, elected to move back to the Lehigh Valley and raise a family. In 2014, Bobby earned a master's degree in business administration with a concentration in supply chain management from Moravian College. Bobby spent most of his professional career with Air Products and Chemicals, Inc., where he served as global sourcing commodity manager and gas delivery systems manufacturer and operations manager. After a short stint with the St. Luke's University Health Network and Community Ambassador Sports Medicine Relationship role, he now serves as the Director of Sports Medicine Relationships for the Lehigh Valley Health Network, as he strives to engineer a supply chain of student athletes who achieve their aspirations on and off the field of competition. Bobby's love for football and helping others pursue their purpose in life inspired him to form 5-Star Heart Training in 2014, and ultimately the 5-Star Heart Project, which I can't wait to hear more about. So as founding executive director, Bobby manages the day-to-day business of the organization. He does marketing, media relationships, clinic coordination, and everything that a nonprofit entrepreneur must do. Bobby, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me on, Harrison. It's the mouthful there. Pleasure to be on with all like-minded individuals on this call today. It's thrilled to be on here with Chance too as well. and a credit to everybody here. I think we have one fulfillment in life. I think that's to serve others. And how do we help everybody else throughout this life? And again, I'm blessed to be on this call with everybody here, veterans alike, all the veterans on this call. And again, my purpose, and I think the purpose in one's life, is to help others, pursue their dreams and help them and guide them through life. So thrilled to
Well,
talk football too.
yeah, and you're doing a hell of a job of it. We're going to get into this. And also with us tonight representing the Air Force Academy is Chance Harriage. Chance is originally from Bon Air, Georgia, and graduated the Air Force Academy in 2004, where he is regarded as one of the best QBs in Air Force history. He started 3 years and boasted impressive statistics. He was 151 receptions for 329 attempts with over 2,000 career passing yards, 16 passing TDs, 35 rushing TDs, and a career QB rating of 107. Just so everyone knows, if you have to be reminded, Air Force runs the triple option. So the fact that you had 329 passing attempts is mind-blowing. I think that's also a record in its own right. So 2,000 career passing yards is a big deal in that option. And I was really excited to discuss that with Chance earlier today. But over that time, he earned all second team Mountain West Conference honors and set the NCAA rushing TD record in 2002 with 22. So 22 rushing touchdowns, big deal, especially if you're a quarterback. And I actually heard head coach Fisher DeBerry is on record saying that Chance was the best QB he has ever coached. After graduating from the Air Force Academy, Chance became a C-17 pilot with the Air Force for over 7 years. And during that time, Chance was an airdrop aircraft commander, 3-time Air Medal recipient, and United States Air Force Academy instructor pilot of the Summer Ops 2013. He's currently in the Air Force Reserves as a C-17 pilot and pilots for Delta Airlines as a 320 captain. He lives in South Carolina with his wife and 3 children, and he admitted to me that he wants to get into coaching as soon as possible. So welcome, Chance.
Thanks, Harrison. Thanks everyone for having me on. Same thing. It's quite the honor. I was excited just to, hey, someone wants to talk to me about football, because I could sit here and just waste hours on you. And been very fortunate getting back into South Carolina. I'm close to home in Warner Robins, Georgia area. I've made it to a football game every Friday night that I've been in town, and got to catch up with high school coaches. 4 high school teammates. I keep in touch with a lot of the guys. For whatever reason, the Air Force Academy, started doing like all decade team stuff. Maybe or maybe didn't win our named all decade quarterback. But with that, just a lot of old time, a lot of old friends, a lot of guys I looked up to. I've been talking a lot of football for the last 3 months, and I think my wife's sick of it, but it's great to be here.
Well, we'll keep the volume down. We'll just keep doing it in secret for this next hour. And like one of the things, brotherhood, and we were discussing this earlier. You're committed to consistently going out to an Air Force game, and Air Force and the Naval Academy clearly play this weekend, which we're getting all excited about. But you're making a trip out to Colorado Springs, or at least hoping to go to the Boise game, where I hope I get to see you in person. And you were telling me that you're going to meet your offensive linemen out there, all of them, all the starters. And that just rings brotherhood to me. What does that mean to you, to be able to schedule this when everyone has these super rigorous schedules, to get out there and spend that time with your linemen?
I mean, Bobby can probably speak to this too. And most I think 4 of the 5 starters were prep school guys. So I went to the prep school with my linemen. That's awesome, y'all. That's great. My kids just got boots. So that means we got to go get candy out. Sorry. So I'm super close to my offensive linemen. That's all there was to it. And, I'm sure it's the same in Annapolis, and it's the same in Army. Everybody recruits like 15 quarterbacks, it seems like, every year coming in. But my guys at prep school, like, they would go all out, whenever, we were freshman, sophomore, like those guys just bought in, like they believed in me. And, it's hard to explain, but they're my boys. I mean, they made me look real good, and they know that. And it's a typical academy lineman type of bond. The Air Force, Army, and Navy are only going to be as good as the center and the two pulling guards as long as they're running the triple option offense. And the better they are, it's just a fact. We were just very blessed to have some really good guys. And they're the O linemen. They're the smartest guys on the football team, and they're just pretty laid back dudes. I mean, it's hard. They're the most even killed out of everyone.
What is it about the prep school that creates such strong bonds that carry through and then into such incredible performances that you had in your junior and senior year?
What you got, Bobby?
Right. Talking to me,
Uh,
Harrison.
well, that question will go to you, Bobby, here in 1 second. But I wanted to hear from Chance first because he was saying about like how that got solidified in prep school and has come to today.
I can tell you real quick. We were. This goes back to my coaches at the prep school was the '98 WAC championship group. So those guys had just come off a 12-1 season. They were ranked in the top 10, and there are coaches at the prep school. These guys were larger than life. I mean, they had edge. I mean, confidence. They talked more shit to us, and we were like their players, and they were just like, we would run you over, and you're just like, it was unreal. And the whole time they were just, I mean, it was the most contested practices. Like it was wild. Like, I mean, it was hard to even explain. It's just like, we want to be like these guys. Like how can we be like them? And they were all prep school guys. And they told us point blank, like the sooner that you realize that you're here, like you're not looking, the grass isn't greener. This is your grass. And we used to laugh about it. Once you commit to like, I'm staying here, and you get the more guys that will do that at the prep school, the better you're going to be at the Air Force Academy up on the hill, as we called it. And that's just what was kind of like bought in. So then it was, I was pretty much one of the first ones. Is like, well, we all started sitting around. You'd always talk and trying to figure out like, oh, I'm better than the Air Force. I'm going somewhere else. And then everybody started, not that good, and all we got's us. So then it was real quick of the only way that I was ever going to leave the Air Force Academy is they were going to have to drag my ass from the hill through one of the north or the south gates. And that was kind of how it was taught to us. And the sooner that you buy into this being your school, and it changes everything. And I was fortunate, I think we had 18 or 19 prep school guys that stayed through the 5 years. And I'm just going to tell you right now, like they're in my wedding, if there's anything just life happens, my phone, I know who to call, and it's a short list. And I went to the prep school with them.
Awesome. And so, Bobby, you had similar bonds, it seems like, because you guys were committed to turning the whole Naval Academy program around, right? And you had that time in NAPS. So how did NAPS like really formulate that bond between you and your guys, and how you were able to step up and, have that mantra of selfless service?
I mean, when we looked at it too, we were on the opposite spectrum, right? I mean, the brothers before us, right? We were going through Navy, was going through like the lows, right? 1-10, 1-11 seasons, right? And I just remember getting, I mean, anybody that knows been to NAPS and knows Newport, Rhode Island, especially when you're getting kids from Texas all across the country, man. It's hard to get belief in a lot of these guys, right? That are coming from Texas in the middle of winter. Like people are starting to say, like, what am I doing here? I'm going into a program that's this, right? Knowing that those brothers are sacrificing everything though too, right? And, we were up there. We had a good core of guys. I was at NAPS 99. Unfortunate, but fortunate. Like I was running a shuttle run in the March, right? And I was doing a shuttle run. We were doing it, and I blew my knee out. My knee went completely backwards, finishing the line, decelerated too quick. So I was sitting there. I remember this calling my mom, and I'm like, on the old pay phone, put the coins in, and believe me, it's like probably at the prep school at Air Force, it's like pretty much prison, right? You have to sign out to go to the bathroom, the whole 9 yards, right? And I'm like, Mom, and I just remember calling her, my mom, my dad, I'm like, what am I doing? Do I go? Don't I go? And I was like, I'm going. Like I could not quit, right? So anyways, I was I graduated, but I was forced to go back up there. And then I was like, so we had a whole nother NAPS class coming, and that class was just like the one in 99. We were just different. We were just built different. The guys I played with was like Lane Jackson, TJ Costello, Dustin Elliott, but I was considered like the grandfather then at NAPS. I knew all the ways, teaching them, hey, here's how you get through this place, right? And I always envisioned like keep your eyes on the prize, right? So we that 2000 NAPS class, 99 NAPS class, but I'll be honest with you, fast forward to the freshman year. So we had, at that time, it was Coach Weatherby. He was my freshman coach, right? And myself, Lane Jackson, like I said, Dustin, Ben Matthews, another guy. But that freshman class that we had coming in there, like we came in some games in the locker room. Like I dressed one game my freshman years at Georgia Tech. We got beat 70 somethings. Like, I don't even know what it was. I remember going to the locker room. Some of the seniors were eating pizza. And I'm thinking, this ain't happening, man. This ain't happening here. So us freshmen, I remember being a freshman, we would go for, I didn't care who I was hitting in practice. It's a release at the academies too. You just want to hit people. So it was like, we're going to cultivate this change from within, and we're going to do it from the freshman and sophomore class up. And we just teed off on some of these offensive linemen. And we're like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to change this right now. And anyway, that's how it went from prep school to this, and then building that bond with those prep school guys like Chance had spoken about. It's just special. You get the sense of like the grind, right? And you come in there with more of like, I don't know, like we're the guys that maybe had the lower GPAs or whatever, but you know what? We're the guys that are gonna come in and we're gonna turn this program around, right? I mean, I know some of my friends, they still tell you stories. I got a 990, I got this, but you know what? Those guys turned out to be the best officers in the country, right? And the best leaders in the country, right? On and off the fields. But and then it'll segue, and we'll talk about the Paul Johnson era, because the stories under him are you'll hear it in a couple minutes.
Well, awesome. We're actually going to take a look at it and just see firsthand exactly how you release that tension. And because Bobby, you were regarded as being like the contemporary Dick Butkus at the time. I think you were even wearing his number, right? And
Yep, 51, yep.
Did you do that on purpose? Like, was that a guy that you looked up to and wanted to be?
I had a picture of, I'm a Bethlehem guy, so Chuck Bednarik was from Bethlehem, and then I had a picture of Dick Butkus too. I was like, this is what football should be about right here.
Awesome. Well, here, take a look at this. Here, we don't even need to do this. Let me know if this is choppy film. I mean, granted, it is from the early 2000s, but here we got Bobby playing middle linebacker. Oh, can you see it? Oh, wait, why is that happening? Oh, let me refresh this for a second, guys. We gotta check this out. It's awesome. And this is in the Houston Bowl. Oh, why is it doing that? But that's you tackling Wes Welker. What was it like preparing for that guy?
Well, all I know, Wes Welker is the only wide receiver that ever decleated me.
Huh.
That's my claim to fame with Wes Welker. I turned around, he hit me. I went right up in the air. Before you know it, I looked down the field. He's already sprinting 10 yards down the field. So but again, if you want to be decleated, it's good to be decleated by like an all-pro, I guess, wide receiver. But he hit me right underneath the chin. Didn't see him. He freaking, yeah.
How about this right here, guys? Let's keep looking at this. This is awesome. This is a goal line stand. And I just have to apologize right now for all the people who have played for Army. Just please try to set this aside for right now, because Bobby had an awesome game here. And I want to go back to that. Do you remember this play? You leaping over the top here, and making that was a third down play right there.
Yeah, it was. Yep. That was the Naval Academy version of LeVar Arrington leap. There you go.
There it is.
all 20-something inch vertical right there, boy. 5'11".
You are definitely bringing the lumber, that's for sure. And you're just running sideline to sideline, and the tenacity is incredible. Like that, right there. It's so hard to do and so important at the middle linebacker position when you're playing another option team.
Yeah,
And this
man.
plays outstanding here. Like you're going to see this, and it goes in slow motion. Do you remember this play and then what ensued?
Yeah, I remember that play. I don't remember what ensued there. Maybe an interception or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
There we
exactly
go.
right.
Right here.
And that really just sealed the deal.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that moment like for you?
Well, I mean, being a local guy about an hour away from Philadelphia, right? I mean, grandfather in the Navy, he was my idol. My grandfather was like, Bobby, and I got to play, and I don't know how many relatives I had at that game, and the pageantry, the whole 9 yards. It was just, it's in Philadelphia. That's where Army Navy belongs, in my opinion, right? We do other sites, different years, right? But I mean, it's a special place. It really is, and it's like, whether you're playing Air Force, Army, it's something special. I mean, it is. It's a bunch of guys that just truly are playing for each other, right? Even back then, and now in the days in the NIL world, right? These guys are still Army, Navy. There's nothing more whole and pure, and Air Force whole and pure about what it means to play for the guy next to you. So it was phenomenal.
Yeah. And Chance, what's your reaction to that? In this world of NIL and how that just in the academies, it falls on deaf ears.
Good for those guys, I guess. Like, I'll take my boys any day of the week. We'll be all right. And we kind of laugh. I didn't expect to go to the Air Force. Just expectations, just opportunity to go play. I didn't need any money to, for just the opportunity to go play at Division I level was all. That was all that I needed. Sure. Are you happy to see it? It'll ruin the game. I'm afraid it's going to be the death spiral. TV's done a really good job of making it, challenging with TV schedules. It's the mighty dollar, but now you're introducing money to kids that are really young.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting to see.
It will be interesting to see, and this is why we celebrate this weekend. This is why we have the Commander-in-Chief Trophy Series, because what's going to happen on Saturday has nothing to do with that, right? And as we talk about brotherhoods, like the brotherhood that Bobby feels and the brotherhood that Chance feels with their teammates that transcends all of time, it's because, you hear about going through naps together, then getting out onto the varsity fields and then growing and grinding together. Doesn't happen in the transfer portal. So it's like you guys are just super fortunate, and we get to watch that on Saturday. That's why these academy rivalries are so important. And Chance, I want to hear you talk about this. So it's a concept of like self-preservation, because it's different to be a quarterback in the, for a triple option team. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, because you got to be vicious. You got to be able to gain yards on the ground and hit, but you also have to be able to get hit without getting killed, right? Because you have to hold the ball until the very last minute. So how would you approach that? What was the skill? What was the art? And what would go through your mind when coach calls option right for the 19th time and you're going against Notre Dame and you got a bunch of space creatures out there just coming down on you?
It's one of those things. As far as playing the game, like longevity, like how long, because you're going to take, Coach Peterson and Coach DeBerry both like talk to me after my freshman year when I had a chance. I showed up and I was like about number 12 on the depth chart, and coming out freshman year, I'm staring at being a 3-year starter, and I weighed like 165 pounds, and they're just like flipping out. They're like, I mean, we can't do this to you. You don't understand like what they're talking about. And of course, D Dallas. D Dallas was a little guy, right? Like he was this little fast guy. He was fast guy on the field. Makes a huge difference. I had a little bit different style than D did. Like I was going to try to run you over at 165 pounds. And I've got enough film from the prep school year, freshman year. I mean, I separated my shoulder freshman year down in Georgia. It makes a lot of sense. But at the end of the day, I don't know, you just get up. I mean, gonna bounce back, like get back up, try to limit big hits, as long as you don't take one on the chin. Like there's like a handful I remember that, like still saying that to the day. Like you just never forget like a real big hit. And really the big, I don't know, like it's just part of it. Like, I mean, the one thing that I don't miss is like just picking yourself back up off the ground. So then, 10 years later, CrossFit's like this big deal. And it's like burpees. And it's like, well, shit. I mean, the worst part of like football is like you fall down, someone's on top of you, and you got to get back up, and then you do it all over again. So it's like I've done burpees, for about a 20-year span of my life, and I don't miss that at all. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I know. That's like you sit there and you have to take it from a defensive end, and that
No, you do.
Position is so much bigger than you, and it's like option right, and then coach is like, "That was good. Let's do option left." And you're like,
oh. Right. Well, there's two funny stories out of that. So my sophomore year, I played a lot my sophomore year, and the guy in front of me is Keith Boyer. Nobody ever talks about Keith Boyer. Keith Boyer quietly goes 1,000. He has a big year, right? Like has a big year. And again, nobody talks about it at the academy, but I was a sophomore, played a lot behind him, and I saw this guy. So we get done. It was 9/11 year, so we beat Utah right at the end. Schlegel, we had some players, like very similar to Bobby's group. Our prep school group and the one after us, if and nuts or candy and butts, we had some really good, like we had players at the academy whenever I was there. So sophomore season ends. It's like it's a known. Like you're getting ready to be the quarterback. Like it's like being knighted. Like I've been given the keys to the Cadillac, and this is your team. And I remember, Coach Berry's like, we're going to be as good as you are. Like we'll be as good as you take us, kind of deal. Well, I'm sitting there like super pumped because I'm like, well, this is exactly why I'm, like it's great. And I'm sitting next to Boye, and Boye holds up 2 fingers, and he's like, you've got to do this for 2 years. And I'm like, yeah, of course I do. Like whatever. You didn't think anything of it. I'm going to tell you all right now, senior year doesn't go the way it's done. I couldn't be done playing football fast enough because all this like hitting, like you get hit and it's like, we're not going to win the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. We lose to Utah in triple overtime, so we don't have a shot in the Mountain West. And it's like it's done. And it's like, I'm just counting down the days for it to be over with because like, you just had the shit beat out of you for 2 years in a row. I call Keith Boyer as soon as the season's over with, and I'm like, Keith, you're exactly right. So then, any guys that look on before, anyone that plays like 2 or 3 years, 4 years in the option offense, God bless them. I mean, just no way in hell. I mean, you can have it.
Do you ever want to like get up to the line, right, and just like audible to midline? Right, just audible.
I did that a few times, and they always used to laugh. Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, we used to laugh about that too. I mean, again, Boy and I used to laugh. Like Boy's like, well, I'm the quarterback. Like I'm the best athlete on the field, so of course I'm going to keep the football, right? So like that was how I was taught in running the midline. But a midline play is exactly designed for the quarterback, and you'll put up big numbers and everything else. And my fullbacks and even my linemen, even Coach Peterson, everyone used to laugh. Like if I gave the football to the fullback on midline, it's because I was exhausted and didn't have any gas. So I was trying to catch my breath, and I would just give the ball to the fullback and we'll get back into it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because at least you get to read in the middle. Like if you run option, you're taking the hit regardless if you pitch it or not. Like you're getting crushed.
You are, and that's another one too. I like one of the worst times I got like just it was whenever we played Army my senior year at home. We just went on the road. I think we'd beaten long story short, like I'm just catching like an earful because I won't carry out the fake. And to be honest with you, the reason why I'm not carrying out the fake, 22 games into my career is because every time you carry out the fake, someone decleats you, and then I'm picking myself back up off the ground again, and I don't have the ball. Like it's exhausting, right? So the whole week going into Army, like I'm just getting railed on, carrying out my fake, carrying out my fake, carrying out my fake. And I'm like, fine, I'm going to give these guys exactly what they want. We're going to carry out the fake. It's about halfway through the first quarter, and I forget the safety's name from Army, and Army's tough. Like, I'm just going to tell you, like, this, like, it's just hard nosed. Nothing against Navy, but Army just, they kept me in check. I got a shadow on the field playing those guys. Halfway through the first quarter of my senior year, I carry out the fake on some like triple option, and the damn safety flies up in the alley and just lays me out. I go right back to the sideline, get on the phone to Coach B, and go, that's why I don't carry out my fakes, because this is why my career ends. And the coaches are all laughing on the phone because they see me get depleted, and I'm like, that's why I don't do this, man. Like, y'all are going to get me killed. And they're just all laughing on the phone.
Well, we're going to take a look at it right now of like this.
Oh, God, great.
Yeah. But hey, it's a highlight film, just trying to get everyone, this not you just getting completely thrashed. But it's something to really keep in mind when we watch this game on Saturday, like just really how tough the players are. And this game, this is the Air Force Academy versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame is ranked, as you can see, 7 in the country. Air Force is 15, but they're going into this game both undefeated, 6-0, 6-0. So this is, I just can't help but to think about your relationship with your offensive linemen and what this means, and to go up against this huge team here. And here it is. All right. And this is early. This is right in the beginning of the first quarter. Finally, they let you throw the ball for a first down. But it's like this option. There's the midline. I love this play, by the way. Even today, I think we should run this more, regardless if you're a triple option team or not. Right? So clearly, it's the beginning of the game, and you're not exhausted. And it just becomes QB lead. Just thrashing.
Oh, there it is.
And this is for a first down. This was a huge play here in this game because it's close. It's coming down to the wire. Needed to keep the drive going. That's what did it. And that's why you slammed up in there. This was another huge first down on a third down conversion. As you can see, as we're approaching the goal line. What was your thoughts here? Do you remember this moment where it's the third quarter, Notre Dame's up, you're driving, just got a critical first down, knocking on the red zone? What's going through your mind? Chance, you still with us? Oh, you're just muted.
Sorry. Yeah, I was muted. Sorry about that. On that play there, the throw, that should have been split 129, L double cross, and then Leotis. So you had 2 draggers across the field. You should have the tight end. Actually, that's post will cross. 129, post will cross on the backside, and Leotis on the crossing route underneath. Really trying to go score, trying to make a game of it, which we did. We tied it up. It's 14-14. And then,
here's the play.
You don't realize how close it was. Well, yeah, that was quarterback sneak to get in, and then you tie it up at 17 or it's 14-14. They go down to score, and it's the fourth quarter. I'm glad you didn't show it. It's the only time I've ever thrown a football like 65 yards. But this is it right here. I missed the ace on the backside. So we run. This is the same thing. It should be 120. This is 128 post will cross, and you got the post. So that was
that was the last. So now we switched to this other game, but this was to drive.
Yeah, that was the under. This is the same thing against Virginia Tech. I mean, Virginia Tech was pretty good that year. The Notre Dame game's tough. Like that right there, like we start driving down the field, like to go. I overthrow ace on the post for a touchdown to tie it up.
That was the play, I think, right before this. That was.
Yeah, and I think we peter out, but it's a touchdown. I mean, you dial it up. It happens in option offenses where everybody's crowding the box and you got to take a shot. And I missed the throw on that one, and that's the difference in that one. This is Virginia Tech, where I showed my colors passing. I think I went 3 for 19, 3 picks. So I was actually 6 for 19. Good or bad. There's a lot to that game that, it doesn't show up right there. But at one point, we had the chance to go up on Virginia Tech. We ran split 28, and we ran double option. I pitched off the safety, and AB, guy I went to the prep school with, cut off his inside foot, and it should have been 17-0. If it's 17-0, Bobby can tell you this. He's seen it playing Texas Tech whenever they beat those guys. You get to a dogfight, and you get up on, a big-name school, they'll lay down and quit. They have quit in their heart, a little bit different than a Navy and an Army team. And instead of going up 17-0 against Virginia Tech and probably blowing them out, I mean, honest to God, they have 2 running backs. We were a better football team, than Virginia Tech. And the reason why that was at that time is we were healthy at the end of the year. Schlegel was linebacker, and Rosinski, who's now coaching D coordinator at Virginia right now. The 2 running backs, you said their names. I'm like, yeah, but the 2 guys at Virginia Tech, I mean, they average like almost 300 yards rushing a game between the 2 of them. I think they had 98 rushing yards against us. Like, our D played healthy, had a shot, it was just awesome. I mean, just got into it. And I played probably one of my worst games, at the academy in the bowl game. Field conditions, I give you all the excuses in the world. At the end of the day, I played like crap, and we still had a shot to win the game right there at the end. And the reason why playing Notre Dame, we played Cal that year. We played Northwestern. Notre Dame was, big and fast. It was kind of like a shell shock halfway through the season. I think the moment got a little bit, I'm not going to lie to you, it was overwhelming. I mean, it was a big stage, and we weren't quite ready for it. We lose 3 in a row after that, because Notre Dame figured out that if you ran right at us, it created problems. And that's what the next 2 teams did against us, was run right at us. But we got healthy for Virginia Tech. I'm just going to tell you, they didn't have an answer. I say we offensively, Coach Peterson, I still think, I still have the binder for that prep going into Virginia Tech. We ran we showed I formation, and then started running motion with different guys. I thought it was one of the best game plans that we ever had going into a game. And I say this, I didn't execute. I didn't play my best game. I'm just going to tell you, AB doesn't slip. He scores a touchdown. We're up 17-0 in the first quarter. Virginia Tech's going to quit. And, it turned into a dogfight and just ended up on the short side. And that's the exciting part about Service Academy football. At least I say it for me. 2 games in 2 years, and we didn't have a chance to win. The rest of them, we had a shot to win it in the fourth quarter. And that's how you draw it up if you're a competitor. I mean, hell, it had every shot to go win it. It's there, and it's pretty awesome.
And it was evident to see that. That's why I selected those picks, man, because it's like resiliency. It's coming back and coming back, and being ready to win. It just sometimes you don't always, but what I'm hearing is there's this extra kind of grit that you guys have when you're playing some of the non-military schools. And Bobby, what was that like for you? Did you feel that same way, going into some of these games where you were like, hey, we just got something different than you? You might have some size and speeds and the stars on the recruiting stuff, but you don't have what we got. Do you have any recollection of that?
Yeah, and it all started back. I'll be honest with you. First day Paul Johnson arrived, right, from Georgia Southern. We didn't know who he was, right, who this guy was. And I remember being out right on our practice field the first time we ever had fourth quarters. Nobody knew. Coming under Weatherby, nobody knew what this was. The quote from my teammate, Lane Jackson, who ended up being a Navy SEAL, the guy that started next to me. I went more than halfway through buds to experience anything as hard as that first day under Paul Johnson. Now, that'll tell you something, building grit and the no quit mentality. And then from there on out, we just had this swagger about us. Another gentleman who was, Navy option offense, Paul Johnson, might mastermind. We had a phenomenal staff, right? And then Coach Buddy Green, though, he at that time, he was the pretty much led North Carolina State's defense and top ranked defense in the nation. And he opted to come here to Navy as a challenge, right? I remember that same day. Who is this devil? Holy smokes. Spit flying out of his mouth. I remember I never did more. Chance, you talk about up downs. I never did more up downs or burpees or whatever in my life. But you know what? Those guys, both that coaching staff, they just were so committed to us. And like Paul Johnson brought the 3-4 defense, like the undersized, but hey, bend but don't break mentality. Keep the ball in front of you. 11 hats to the ball. And his key term was finish. And like I knew playing for Paul Johnson and then his coach Kevin Kelly, who was our linebacker coach, and Buddy Green, who, under my nonprofit, we had the Finish Scholarship, named it after him. It was like, you know what, these guys believe in us. The coaching staff believes in us, and we believe in ourselves. And we played against good, Notre Dames of the world. We lost on a last second field goal my junior year. It was heartbreaking, man. It was just so heartbreaking. But then there was times, like Chance said, like no matter what, we knew we could hang in with anybody we played, just from the sheer fact that we know we were tough, mentally tougher. We just came at it. We didn't care how we were like. And at that time, it was before the really resurgence of, like, I want to say Navy football from like a size, right? We had converted defensive linemen to offensive linemen, and we were like the Bad News Bears of college football. I swear to God, it was. And anyways, I just remember like the one of the games I remember was like JP. I think it was JP Lossman. He came in with Tulane, throwing tons of all over the place that year. And I remember we waxed him, and I remember just saying, "Get the F off this field." We had that mentality, like, you ain't coming into our house now. This is a new era of Navy football. And like, it was something like, you go through that grind, and it's like that earn it mentality, right? And you have to earn everything, right? It's a price of admission. And one of my former guys that I coached at prep school, Tony Haber, he ended up beating Notre Dame twice. I coached him at prep school. He actually just started a podcast called The Price of Admission. And it just talks about paying the price and what that price is to truly, and then you have that same mentality throughout life, right? I mean, when I'm doing anything and get challenges in my life, I hear Buddy Green saying, finish, finish, finish. It may be crazy to some be out here, but you know what? Never quit on these kids too. Like, that's the way I look at it. You're all coaching. I can't quit on these kids I'm coaching, right? I can't quit on the kid that doesn't have a pot to piss in, whose mom's on heroin, whatever else, right? And it's just like, you take that mentality from the field and throughout life. It's just like, this is what the academy football, this is what military, this is what, what truly what I've taken, right, out of all this. And it's so much larger than it's so much more than the game of football, right? Beyond the white lines.
Well, what a great segue, Bobby, right? Like we said, we're going to talk about brotherhood, we're talking about football, and we're talking about leadership. So we've been talking about the first two, and now we're hearing themes of grit, resiliency, never quitting, price of admission. And then how is this actually manifesting in your leadership currently in work? And Bobby, you've created something called the 5-Star Heart Program that really kind of embodies a lot of everything what you're saying right now. And it stems from these concepts that were imbued in you from the Naval Academy. Can you just tell us all what the 5-Star Heart Program is, your nonprofit, and how these themes are now transcending in the incredible work you're doing?
Yeah. So the origins of 5-Star Heart actually originated in the visiting locker room in Notre Dame. So I had the opportunity in 2009 I went out to go see Navy play Notre Dame, and literally, like right before the game, Coach Ken Niumatalolo, he brought me and said, "Bobby, why don't you give a pregame speech?" And something clicked in my mind at that time. I was like, you know what? I pointed out, I said, the guys in that locker room, meeting Notre Dame's, those are 5-star recruits. The guys in this locker room are brothers with 5-star hearts. And lo and behold, they went out and beat Notre Dame that day. And it was so special because those are the guys that I coached at prep school. Probably like Chance, you got a chance to coach at prep school. I coached at prep school. That core of linebackers, I always told them, keep your eyes on the prize, right? They went out, they beat Notre Dame twice in their careers. So anyways, you take that 5-star heart mentality. What does it mean? It means love. It means work ethic. It means being selflessness. And, again, like I said it earlier, I came back, I moved into Bethlehem, right? Started climbing the ladders of corporate America, but I always had this yearning desire to do something more. So I started with a football clinic in 2013. Literally, there was 13 kids there. I have it here. I always keep it in my office here, the picture. And I said, you know what? I want to always give kids more than a free t-shirt, like at my clinics, right? You're coming here to learn football, but you're here to learn about life. So anyways, we started taking kids to, next year, we took kids to Army and Navy, providing kids with a vision of success, right? A lot of these kids, especially the ones that come from socioeconomic demographic backgrounds, you tell them college, hey, you can't tell a kid to make it to college if they can't, it's not tangible to them. So we started taking kids to, universities as part of our clinics. And then I just said, you know what, heck with this. I'm not, no offense to any lawyers out there, but I have no money to start my own nonprofit, right? I'm going to have to just, apply for my 501c3, create the 5-Star Heart Project on my own. It was my grind was, hey, I'm working, I go to Starbucks, right? I'm going to start this nonprofit. I'm going to go to then work corporate America, my day job. And then I want to make this something for the kids. So anyways, long story short is, 5-Star Heart kept unfolding, right? We started a nonprofit, do clinics. Every year we hold a clinic. This past year we had 265 kids. It's all free for kids, right? Kids come to that clinic. They do speed sled races. They earn Nike apparel. They actually, we donated like Gilman equipment for those kids that represent their middle school in these speed sled races. We donate football equipment to them, pre-game meals we've done in years past. And, things have evolved over the years. So 2015, like I said, we started the nonprofit, right? I did. And then we started a mentor program, which I think is of great value here. And it's a mentor program in partnership with a local university, Moravian University, which is pretty much my backyard. I came up with this idea. The greatest assets we have in society, I believe, are collegiate student collegiate student athletes, right? Every kid, there's so many kids out there, both male and female, that are missing that role model, especially on the male side of the house. A lot of these kids don't have a male role model in their lives. So anyways, we designed this mentor program in 2000. Started in 2016, right? Throughout this year, we take middle school kids from around the area, right? Some have money, most of them don't, right? Majority of them don't. We hold a mentor program. What does it entail? We bring kids together on Sundays. We do reflective readings. If anybody doesn't know the book, The Training Camp by John Gordon, get it. It's a great book. It also has a playbook with it. It's a reflective reading book, and it has a playbook that goes with it that any middle school, high school, college athlete would love. It's reflection. You sit down, you read this book. It's about a free agent who went through the grind, and then throughout this process, he got injured. Then he said, where am I at in life, right? And again, it has a corresponding playbook that goes with it. But anyway, the kids have to read the book. They have to do community service projects. They have to uphold standards in the classroom, right? They have to go to workout sessions, like strength and conditioning sessions, right? So they're earning stuff throughout the year. Like they earn Nike apparel. And then at the end, like the culminating event, I mean, in 2019, prior to COVID, we took kids to Army, Navy, University of Michigan. We didn't get out to Colorado Springs. Sorry, Chance. We took them. So each year too, what I've been doing since 2016, we take them to Dabo Sweeney's Clemson University Football Clinic. That is a 3-day experience. Again, if you have any kids that would want to experience a life lesson of 3 days life lessons, Dabo Sweeney does a phenomenal job there. It is tremendous. And then you also get kids, again, who probably they're used to eating one meal a day, right? They're eating like kings in Clemson's cafeteria. They're playing, they call it Dabo Sweeney ball in Death Valley. We're doing the all access tours of the facilities. It's just awesome. And anyways, that's how things have progressed through 5-Star Heart. And we are, we're back at it. COVID hit us a little bit, but we got through that with adversity, right? And now we're back at it in person. We just had a camp, but like I said, this summer we took kids back to Clemson, and it's cool because Navy, the brotherhood always comes out for the camp and volunteers their time. But that's it in a nutshell. That's what it's about, right? That's what I do, and I'm very blessed now working with the Health Network, kind of doing the same thing, kind of bringing 5-Star Heart to more of the sports medicine side, and working to create opportunities for kids around the area in the sports medicine world too as well.
Bobby, it's amazing work that you're doing, man, and the fight is worth it, as you know. And I can just tell you, like we're like brothers on ways that
I didn't get
you
that.
probably don't even
Try
realize.
again.
So anyway, and it's great that you just took the courage to start a 501c3 and do this program. It's a lot of work, and we can espouse these values that you guys are talking about from your careers in the academies and in leadership, without having to do something as rigorous as starting a brand new 501c3. We can do it in our everyday lives, in our leadership at work and in our families. And Chance, how is that playing out in your life and your leadership at work, in the reserves, and your family? How are you instilling this?
I mean, I think God every day I went to the academy, just, to be different. I always think of Robert Frost, the road to less traveled, the opportunity to play sports. I was smart. I married a chick who played soccer in South Carolina. So the whole athletic deal is real big in our house. I mean, I could show you all videos. I have my son who's 3 with a ball and a T-ball. And I'm like, I don't care what you're doing. Just keep your eye on the ball and just swing. And then, of course, he hits it. And like we always laugh. But sports is real big in the house. God's blessed me with a beautiful wife. I've got kids healthy. They bounce around. They kind of get it. It's in them, if that makes sense, between the wife and myself. As far as, the Air Force, everyone's like, oh, leadership laboratory, the academies. The premier leadership laboratory is found inside those little white lines. The greatest team sport ever built was football. I humbly submit, I'm just another guy that, God bless, I had the opportunity to go fly airplanes, to go fly, I did my time. I'm not here to beat my chest. I did what was asked of me to do. That's what I signed up to do. I did my job, and hopefully a lot of people will say I did it well. I take my profession seriously, aviation. If I'm going to do something worth doing, it's worth doing well. I didn't need Coach DeBerry, the academy, to tell me that. That was, my parents instilled that in me. Been very blessed. Got to, C-17 worlds, did airdrop, flew in combat, all those different things, life experiences. Natural leader. I say that like humbly, like it's just how it works. I'm as close to load masters as I am the officers, so the enlisted, the officer, I don't really care. You're one of the boys. Like, let's go do, God's work. And that's a gift. That's football. I'm not better than anyone. I just, show up, do my job, quiet professional. That's what I want to be known as. Delta is no different. Very fortunate. It's unionized labor. You get a seniority number. I was very fortunate. I got hired whenever I did. Had the opportunity to upgrade. I've been a captain at Delta pretty much the entire time I've been there. So, in the airline world, that's like a big deal to go from being a first officer to being a captain. I did it right away because that's where my mind is. Like, I'm supposed to be in charge. I'm supposed to be making decisions. That's what they told us when you get hired at Delta. I'm sure every airline does it. They hire captains. So, I'm not going to sit in the right seat and just meander. So, jumped on, had the opportunity. I got into small business a couple of years ago. I just got out of it. I got bought out. So I get excited, like hearing Bobby talking about starting up that. Like, I was kind of just in healthcare and did some good stuff there. That sparked it. I think it's the whole academy. It's like I'm used to having 50,000 irons in the fire and just kind of seeing, like, that makes life exciting for me. I don't know. Life's real boring. Like, I say this like in earnest. it gets real boring whenever it's like all I do is just like I just gotta go fly. Like I tell people all the time, like flying's easy, and people roll their eyes. And I'm like, I point the nose of the airplane like it lands, like it just got like, okay, what's next? What's next? Um, I'm close to crossing the finish line. 20 years coming up in June. Then yeah, there's going to be opportunities inside of Delta. Whereas I'm not saying like turn down the opportunities, but the opportunities exist for me to be a line check airman out on the line. Maybe get into like some, I call it coaching. Again, like teaching guys how to fly, giving them check rides, making sure they're checked out. And I mean, I care, like flying still means something to me. Like you kill yourself, people, all that other stuff. But, if like I'm getting paid to do my job, I want to do it really well. I fly with a lot of new hire guys just because I'm based in New York. It's a very junior base. I find a lot of new guys in the airline industry. You kind of, and I say babysit, you're just like watching over. But if they do something, it's kind of like I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to hurt your feelings. I don't really care. Like I'm here to like make you like if you give a shit about flying or being a professional, like take this. Like I'm just used to constructive criticism. Like if the baby's ugly, the baby's ugly. All right, like there's no mincing words. And yeah, I think the just a black and white approach to life, do or do not. There is no try. It kind of works out, It's fun. Life's fun. I guess I enjoy it. I look forward to what the future brings. Like I said, is I have more bandwidth time as the reserve goes away. There's coaching. There's probably another business adventure out there. There's something else out there. But at the same time, I kind of COVID year gave me the opportunity to do some reflection, make some life changes, and then like just the time that I have with my kids, like. God, it goes so fast, and I come and go, with flying. It's an awesome. Don't get me wrong, it's an awesome job. The worst part about the job is leaving, because then like I'm gone. I'm gone for a couple of days, home for a couple of days, gone a couple of days, gone. I really look forward to spending more time and watching my kids grow up instead of being gone half the year and being like, damn, my one dog is as tall as I am. I'm like, how did you get that tall? And it's been 9 years, so it's just like, gosh, time flies.
Wow. So, hey, we're coming up at the top of the hour, and I'd be remiss if I didn't give you guys the opportunity to talk trash to each other, because that's the other best part about this game is, So, but before we do that, though, we got to bring in the audience as well. So everyone who's been on this call, I'm interested to poll the audience. Who do you think is going to win this game here on Saturday? Navy or Air Force? So in the chat, just put in Navy or Air Force. You can even an N or an A, and let's see what the group says, because not everybody here is from either Air Force or Navy. We got some. I'm interested to hear what the Army guys have to say about this as like the third party here. And while that's happening, Bobby, you got 20 seconds to speak your mind about this game that's coming up on Saturday.
We got them. That's all I got to say. We're bringing it back. We just came off a victory, right? We're playing with that smile in your face, murder in your heart mentality. That's what I call it. Smile in your face, murder in your heart mentality. Back from the days of me and my teammates back in Paul Johnson area.
All right, Chance, back to you. What do you got to say about this game coming up?
So the team that has the fewest turnovers and wins the kicking game is going to win, because it's pretty evenly matched.
I mean, Chance,
Air
this
Force,
is an opportunity.
Air Force at home.
Yeah.
Air Force at home. All right. I mean, they're at home. It's tough. It's tough to go on the road to win. Air Force should win. Air Force should win at home.
We got.
The only problem is nobody shows up now at Colorado Springs, so it's kind of just, you never know. It might hear acres away a few times out there. Who knows?
Well, hopefully October 22nd, you and I will be there for sure. So the poll, I'm looking at the chat here. I got 6 Navy and 1, 2, 3, 4 Air Force, 5 Air Force. So, hey, there it is, Bobby. The crowd thinks that Navy's going to pull it out on the road at the Air Force Academy. And Air Force is really good this year. I don't know if you guys have been watching that, but, man, they've been playing lights out. Well, anyway, Chance, Bobby, so glad to have you on this call. Keeping the Commander-in-Chief Trophy Series legend alive and getting to rehash all these great moments and really what football and your experiences bring to leadership in the communities moving forward. And of course, thank you everybody for making the time tonight. All this is free for our service members and veterans because of our generous donors. So if you're looking to get involved, please help us out. And we'll keep growing our army of soldier coaches throughout the country, becoming future leaders just like Bobby and Chance. Hope everyone has a great night. Night, everyone.
Appreciate it, Harrison. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Harrison. Thanks, Sean.
Bye,
Thank you.
guys.
Take care, Chance.
Bye, Bobby. Be good, man.